And we're back with Paul Hellyer, former Canadian Minister of Defense, to talk about extraterrestrial life forms. Great to have you back. So these extraterrestrial creatures, where did they come from and how did they get here to Earth?
They come from various places. For a long while, I only knew about ones who came from different star systems. The Pleiades and Reta Reticula and several other star systems, but in the last few months I have met people who have made me aware of that there are some in our star system, and that there are actually extraterrestrials who live on a planet called Andromeda, which is one of the moons of Saturn, and that there are others on Venus and some on Mars, and that they may be interacting between themselves. I suspect that they are, because there is what is called a federation of these people, and they have rules. For example, one of the rules is that they don't interfere in our affairs unless they're invited to. And that's one of the reasons probably that we haven't seen more of them until very recently. And so
but what do you mean? There are a lot of people who want to interact with them. There are a lot of people who actually want to see them and know who they are. What, they need a special invitation to interact with us? What does it mean? They don't want to interfere into our affairs.
Well, they don't want to tell us how to run our affairs. They have accepted the fact this is our planet and that we have the right to run it. But they're very, very concerned. They don't think we're good stewards of our planet. We're not. We're clear-cutting our forests, and we're polluting our rivers and our lakes, and we're dumping sewage in the oceans, and we're doing all sorts of things which are not what good stewards of their homes should be doing. And they don't like that, and they've made it very clear. And as a matter of fact, they have given us a warning.
How?
And this has come from more than one source.
How have they made it clear? What have they done?
They have talked to people. One of the chaps I talked to about a month ago was interacting with them in 1974, he and his brother in Peru. And they were taken to Andromeda, teleported, and they were told what the people there think, and that we're really wrecking our planet, and in fact that something dreadful is going to happen to it if we don't smarten up and change our ways. We spend too much time fighting each other. We spend too much money on military expenditures and not enough on feeding the poor and looking after the homeless and the sick, and that we are polluting our waters and our air, and that we're playing around with these exotic weapons, thermonuclear weapons and atomic weapons, which have such a devastating effect both on our Earth and on other areas in the cosmos, and they don't like that. And that's the reason they would like to work with us to teach us better ways, but only, I think, with our consent. And they work through individuals, and they try and pick out individuals who won't be frightened to death of them, because they can give you quite a fright. One of the cases I'm familiar with was the tall whites in Nevada, where the United States Airmen working with them, were just frightened to death of them. And one, Charles Hall, rescued the daughter of one of the high-up people in the tall whites, and as a result became very good friends with the mother. And as soon as they could trust each other, they had a wonderful relationship. And he wrote a book about it. It's called Millennial Hospitality. Millennial Hospitality. And it tells you how you go through these stages of being scared out of your wits. But then when you establish a trust and a working relationship, why you can have the same relationship, same kind of relationship that you would have with someone here on Earth.
But here's what I'm thinking. If you're outing their presence, which is clearly not what they want since they're hiding, why aren't they so afraid of, why aren't you afraid of repercussions? Because you're obviously stating that they're here among us, and you're telling me all these species that exist.
they are here among us, and I'm not afraid because in most cases, well, as far as technology is concerned, they're light years ahead of us, and we have learned a lot of things from them. A lot of the things that we use today, we got from them, you know, lead lights and microchips and Kevlar vests and all sorts of things that we got from their technology, and we could get a lot more too, especially in the fields of medicine and agriculture, if we would go about it peacefully. But I think maybe some of our people are more interested in getting their military technology, and I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong-headed, and that's one of the things that we're going to have to change, because we're going to have to work together.
Talking about
all of us, everywhere on the planet.
You've mentioned military technology and swapping technologies and barters between between aliens and people in American government. I want to ask you, as a former Minister of Defense of Canada, is interstellar war a possibility? Should we be creating a Star Wars force to defend ourselves from possible invasion or something like that?
Well, I think it's a possibility, but it's a possibility especially if we shoot down every UFO that comes in our airspace without asking who they are or what they want. And right from the beginning, we started scrambling planes and trying to shoot them down, but their technology was superior enough that we weren't able to get away with it. Certainly not for a long while. And during that period of time, they could have taken us over without any trouble if they'd wanted to. So I think we have to, rather than develop our own Star Wars, Earth Star Wars, to protect ourselves against them, that we should work with the benign species, who are the vast majority, and work together and rely largely on them, of course, and cooperate so that we would be contributing something at the same time. But I don't think there's any point in us developing a galactic force that would tempt us to go out on our own and get into mischief, which is one of the things I think some of them are concerned about.
But what do you expect to happen if people start to believe in alien existence on Earth? Because things are definitely going to change. Our lives aren't going to be the same anymore.
Well, I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case, and I'm all for full disclosure, and I'm going to push very hard for full disclosure in the book I'm writing, and to give some reasons for it, things that we really have to know and have a right to know, and that our future as a species, and here I mean, you know, all of the species in the world, are potentially at risk if we don't figure out what's going on and work together to try and make life more amenable for all of us.
But
and to work with our neighbors from other planets as well.
But still, like, I'm thinking to myself, if they've been here for such a long time, as you say, and they're interested in helping humanity, as you say, why is our world such a mess? I mean, if you want to help someone, you just help someone. You don't wait for someone to invite you to help that someone, no?
Well, I don't, you know, it's something that I think parents can sometimes say to their children, this is what you should do. But that doesn't mean the children are going to do it, does it? Because the cosmos is based on free choice. And we're given the option of making mistakes, of making wrong choices. And I guess what bothers some of us is we've made too many wrong choices and not enough right choices. So we're going to have to start switching our priorities and stop spending so much time and effort and weapons to kill each other or to dominate each other, and spending a lot more time on how to help each other to have a better life and a more just society, and a life which is healthier and where the health care is better, and where the food distribution is better, and where the air is cleaner and the water is cleaner, and all of those things that are waiting to be done if we just get together and row, as we say, rowboat, row in the right direction, the same direction. And it's possible, but it's a tall order, and so far we haven't done it. My thesis will be that we have to do it, and we have to start doing it right away.
Thank you so much for this interesting interview and insight on extraterrestrial life. That was Paul Hellyer, former Canadian Minister of Defense, who says aliens exist and live among us on Earth. That's all the time we have for today. I will see you in the next edition of Sophie & Co.